Welcome, insomniacs, to another episode of Jets Afterburners. Luca is right there because Liam is somewhere working. That dude cannot stop working. Like, I love Liam so much. He is a workaholic. So, Liam, I know you're listening. We love you. The show must go on. Luca, welcome to the broadcast, baby.
Yeah, Liam must be quite the workaholic, and I respect his work ethic. But what's going on, everybody? Hope all is well. You know, we're obviously going to here to talk about the Jets' acquisition of Hassan Reddick. But Jets offseason's in full swing, and I'm not going to say I've been happy or mad, but you know what? I think I'm fine with the offseason, how it's panned out this far.
I mean, 100%, and it's crazy because I got a good Jet friend, right? He was so amped up yesterday. He's like, "Oh my God, we got JJ Reddick. We got JJ Reddick." I'm like, I think that guy's going to be a little bit too thin to play edge. You mean?
Yeah, he can. He can shoot. He can shoot in this one career, but I don't think he can play football in the other.
Exactly. I mean, production-wise, I don't think we have had a pure pass rusher with productivity as Reddick since John Abraham. Because John Abraham would tally at least an average of 8 to 12 sacks. Huff is fantastic. I think he's going to be a great All-Pro. Do I think we should have re-signed him? Sure, of course. He's one of our own. But I get it. It's business. But now we supplant him with it's like a trade for a trade, right? The Eagles got our guy. We got one of the Eagles guys. I think we upgraded. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know I'm looking at it in Jets green glasses, but not necessarily. This is actually NFL glasses. JJ Reddick has produced at a very high level. It's not just a 1-year wonder.
Right.
It's been, 4+ years at 8 sacks an average. And he's disruptive.
Absolutely. Just looking through some of the basic numbers, we'll go 2020 and 2023. 2020, he had 12.5 sacks as an outside linebacker with the Cardinals. Then in 2021, he went with the Panthers to a 1 year. I think he was there for 1 year. 11 sacks. 2022, his first Pro Bowl appearance. 16 sacks. 2023, 11 sacks. Now, I think the personally difference, Dan, between Hassan Reddick and Bryce Huff is Bryce Huff gets a lot of the pressures, but I think Hassan Reddick can finish his own plays and get the sacks needed. Hassan Reddick, just for the stat geeks out there, 50.5 sacks since 2020. That's the fourth most. And he ranks, up there with Trey Hendrickson, Myles Garrett, TJ Watt. He's ahead of guys like Chris Jones, Max Crosby, Michael Parsons, Nick Bosa as well. So he's the best of the best, realistically. Again, he's not more of the pressure guy like Bryce Huff is, but he's going to finish a lot of plays. He's going to get sacks. That's what you're looking for.
Now, you couple him with Quinnen Williams, Jermaine Johnson, JFM. I'm expecting a 14-sack season. Call me crazy, but our defense is legit. It's already top 10 defense. I'm looking at with this acquisition and all the acquisitions that we're getting right now. And we're also forgetting one important caveat here is that we're going to have an offense. If we have a healthy Aaron Rodgers, offensive line all intact, I get it. We're going to have some injuries here and there, maybe a game or two. That's fine. This is where the depth comes in. Joe Douglas is still not done just as yet. Bakhtiari, that card is still on the table. Obviously, we're not going to break the bank as we did with Tyron Smith. 100%. I totally understand that. But Bakhtiari also wants to win a Super Bowl, and his best friend is the quarterback of the New York Jets. So I can totally see the Jets kind of signing him under the radar. Now, with that being said, the defense. Last year, the Jets won 7 games with vomit at quarterback. Right?
Oh, yeah. Well,
now,
just how to quote that question.
Horrendous. And that's with a defense that had no time to breathe, nothing whatsoever. They could not get off the field, and yet they produced. Yes, there were certain games that they just got blown out.
They barely played with the lead, Dan. They barely played with the lead.
Completely. I mean, there was no motivation. It's a yin and yang type of approach. The offense has to somewhat produce, keeping the defense kind of honest on one side so they can relax. And then the defense also has to, all right, you know what? The offense did this. We're going to show them. We're going to pay them right back to it. It wasn't that last year. and it was just all in shambles. Did I want them to blow everything up last year? Come on, dude. 100%. We wanted that. As Jet fans, a year ago, this same time, we're thinking we were better than how we were in 2022 because we went into 2023 thinking, yo, this is a Super Bowl year.
Absolutely.
What happened? What happened was the offensive line, dude. The offensive line is something that's integral that I don't know. I don't know if there's certain things that are like, is Woody meddling back there last year too? Don't sign this guy. This guy's too much. We got Brown on the left side. You know, the rehab is going well. I think this offseason, finally Woody took the shackles completely off Joe Douglas because Joe Douglas, as a GM, he hasn't nailed it out of the park free agency-wise. Just one, and that was a trade for Aaron Rodgers. This year, Tyron Smith, we got Simpson. We got our boy Moses back. You know, he came back from the split C. I think we're looking good, man. What do you think?
No, I think we're looking good too. And you know what? I'm actually going to kind of rebuttal your point. I actually think Woody, not that it's a good thing. I think Woody is a little more hands-on, not that hands-on, but I think he's applying the pressure a little bit. Like you think about it last season, you know, you've seen Joe Douglas's approach through the last couple of free agencies. He doesn't spend a lot. It's always like the bargain bin is quoted. He makes like one somewhat splash signing, but he doesn't, you know, throw all the money at one guy. He spreads it out. And I think, you know, there is some pressure on this team this year. Let's be realistic. This team has missed the playoffs for 13 years straight. This regime has not had a winning season. So I think Woody might be again, I'm not a fan of Woody. I'm just saying that right now. But I think Woody's applying the pressure saying, hey, you got to change something to your spending because it's clearly not working. I need butts in seats. I need ticket sales. I need winning because if you're not going to win this year, you're gone.
That's the thing. And I think you're right in that aspect with Joe Douglas. But he's also hindering Joe in what he says during the owners' meeting. I'm going to just pull something up here and see what you guys think of what he's – again, this has something to do with a quarterback that we know very well, that we know –
I know exactly what you're talking about.
He's not going to be here. He's definitely not going to be here next year. But there's got to be a trade value. You see it on your screen there?
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
Yes.
Right? All right. Let's see if we could pull this up.
Speaking of Zach, are you optimistic that you guys can trade him this offseason?
You know, Zach, you know, I feel badly
Can you hear that?
Zach in some ways because, you know, last year would have been he would have been the first time he could just sit back and watch a master at work, right? Mm-hmm. And he's never had that. He's been in the fire from day one. And I think that's what he needs. He needs to be in a place where he can observe for a while, and he's got the skill. He can do everything. There's a reason we drafted him at number 2 overall, and I have confidence that he'll get there at some point.
Can that happen here? Can that? I mean, you have Tyrod, you have Aaron.
I think it's you know, it's possible. You know, if we don't trade him, we're going to keep him. So it's possible.
I'm going to stop it right there.
Okay.
What are you doing? What?
It's terrible PR. Terrible.
What? So Joe Douglas wants to trade Zach.
Right, okay? Of course.
So this is the second time that he spoke out. And again, Zach sucks. I'm sorry. He sucks. But
no, we know that.
I'm just talking straight up Joe Douglas, GM. When it was the combine, Woody Johnson, you know, they asked him, hey, how do you like, you know, the quarterback room? Oh, yeah, last year, we didn't even have a backup. You just diminished Zach Wilson's trade value completely. Exactly. So now there has to be like some rumors this past week saying, oh, yeah, we didn't trade him because we feel like there's a better deal on the horizon. And then you come out and say that, oh, yeah, you know, he needs a fresh start. Can he come back to the Jets? Maybe. What?
He said, you know, if we're not going to cut him, we're going to keep him. If we're not cutting him, we're keeping him. If we're not trading him, we're keeping him. And that little flip of the word by Woody Johnson, it speaks to why, you know, a lot of fans dislike him, because he tries to act like that football owner, that football guy, but he's not. He never will be. So it's time he stops. He's got to realize, like, not just from a PR standpoint, like, let the GM do his job. Like, certain things, like, he could honestly, like, with those questions, he could say, you know what, talk to Joe about it. Because, you clearly look, if you listen to Woody, he's like, oh, Zach can do everything. Well, he can't break it down. He cannot break it down from a football aspect. That's why that's such a general statement. Oh, he could do everything. Well, I could do everything. What's the definition of everything? Because if Zach was able to do everything, he would be hell of a lot better quarterback than he is. And he backtracked because he screwed up. And you could argue whether he screwed up at the combine or whether he screwed up at the owners' meetings. It's now Joe Douglas. There's a ton more pressure on Joe Douglas, whether he's going to trade Zach Wilson or he's going to cut Zach Wilson. Keeping him, I've seen some fans pitch that idea. I just want him off the roster, but I'm going to understand that's going to be a hard idea just because of this. It just makes no sense why he had to settle, why he had to say that. It just doesn't make any sense. And I also take an issue with Woody Johnson, something he said earlier this week, but it's not regarding the Zach topic at all. So I just think
what do you say?
No, it's because you saw the NFL Network report from Colleen Wolfe come out and say, there was a source of mine that saw Robert Saleh and Woody Johnson arguing at the NFL team owners meetings, like dinner or something like that. And what I didn't like from Woody Johnson is he responded to that. He called out NFL Network. He said, this is not true. If you are an owner, if you're like an actual owner, not really cognizant and paranoid, you let that shit go. But the problem is Woody wants good headlines. He wants superior headlines. He wants great headlines for his team. The problem is the Jets are very optic led as to why Woody Johnson, came out publicly and, slammed Colleen Wolfe, NFL Network. And what I don't get is there's fans out there saying, go Woody Johnson and all that stuff. But it's just leave that shit alone. That's not your priority. Who cares? Let the reporters indict themselves. Let another reporter go out there and say, you know what? According to my sources, Colleen's information is false. Don't care about that. Who cares? Who cares?
Well,
and Woody shouldn't even be on social media, period. Let him do his money stuff. Let him advertise the new uniforms, tickets, whatever. Who cares about a stupid report? That's the problem with the Jets. They are too paranoid. That's been a main thing for the past few years. Paranoid.
Now, Kuka brings up a valid point, right? But the thing is, I think how Woody addresses it, and I agree with Kuka. I do. Yes, it was a negative report. You come out, but he tweets every week. It's like he can't help himself over and over. And it's like, oh, that wasn't me. That, where there's smoke, there's fire. I want to not believe it, but we're coming from an organization that stuff happens that it's mind blowing. Again, Geno Smith, a broken jaw, your own teammate, Sam Darnold, mono, all this stuff. That's why when that report surfaced, again, Connor Hughes kind of absolved the whole thing. He's like,
and I'll say this right now. This is just an idea. Do you in your honest opinion, Dan, whether you think it's true or not, do you think the Jets sent people not sent people, but I'm saying told the beat writers put ice on this story, basically say that's not true? There's a possibility that could happen. There's a possibility it couldn't have happened. But again, I'm just pointing out to all obvious angles. The Jets could have told Connor Hughes and whoever, put this on ice. This is, we don't want this. We don't want this for our organization.
They do have contacts 100%. So in order for them to kind of appease and acquiesce during the offseason, during the seasons to get that inside info, they might have said, all right, Woody, you know what? All right, let's throw that out there. Now, I'm going to stay with the Woody topic just for a little bit here because I want to throw some nuggets that not a lot of other podcasters have thrown out.
Okay.
And it's this. Woody Johnson right now, when you start seeing signings like Aaron Rodgers last year and not giving him the pieces around him, major flaw, right? That only gives you that kind of thought process of he just wants to sell tickets. He wants to have the big flash name. All right. And he's done that in the past with Brett Favre and Rex Ryan, Tebow, all that stuff. I'm thinking out loud here. I think this offseason has a lot more than people are actually looking into. And I'm going to explain in just a second.
Mm-hmm.
The future is lost. We mortgaged the future when we signed Aaron Rodgers. So that means if the Jets have to, let's say, trade back into the first round to give up next year's first, the Jets will do it. They'll do it.
It's all in.
It's all in. Guys, so think this very clearly because all this can actually happen. The Jets can trade down from 10 to 15 and still get Bowers. The Jets can still trade up after getting Bowers. And if Fuaga is there, and if he keeps dropping, whatever the case is, let's say to 14 or to 13, whatever the case, the Jets could trade back up. We don't have a first next year. You're like, oh, shit.
Right.
So, but what if this thing goes to crap? What happens? Very simple, fellas. If it goes to crap, you blow it up, and it's gonna suck. But when you're all in, remember, Woody is all business. He's 95% business, 5% Jet fan. That's it. And I think Robert Kraft was that too.
Right.
But he hit lotto with Brady. He didn't hit lotto with Belichick. He hit lotto with Brady.
Right.
Here's my end conclusion. The moment the Jets win the Super Bowl, I want this. This is on record. The moment the Jets win the Super Bowl, Woody Johnson is selling high. He's going to sell the team. No way. There's no way that he's going to sell it. He's too egocentric. He is a business person. If he can get the most for this franchise, and this franchise is worth a lot of money in the billions.
They're usually like top 10. You look at Forbes, they're usually around the top 10, top 15 most valuable franchise in all of sports.
He wants to sell it. He wants to sell the team. He's had it. He's had it with the fans. He's had it with the personalities. He can't do anything right. Again, when he bought the team, the intentions were right, but were they genuine? When he put the stadium out there in New York City, he knew that it was going to fail. Coming off already on what occurred on 9/11, you don't want that. You don't want targets and whatnot. He knew it was going to fail. He knew once it would get to silver that he was going to say, nope, I'm going to veto that. It's gone. Dolan as well. He knew it. Where the Jets belong is either in Flushing, a lot of room there, folks, or on Long Island. If you're going to bring them back to the tri-state area, to New York, that's where they belong, in Long Island. But they're not moving anywhere until Woody sells the team. Now, with that being said, piggybacking off of the Bowers thing with the draft and maybe moving up, I want to hear your views. What and who? What do we do at 10? Who do we get at 10? Do we stay at 10?
It's a very interesting talking point. My view shifted a little bit when it came to, when we officially filled up the offensive line. Now we have all 5 positions intact, but we do know that Morgan Moses is coming off a pectoral injury. Tyron Smith is usually not healthy for the most part. I mean, he played 13 games last year, I think, but he's going to miss some games this year. Let's be fair. But also, the thing is with that, we're flexible. Joe Douglas said it perfectly in the press conferences. We're flexible now with our draft plan. We could go receiver, we could go tight end, we could go offensive line. Not that he said that, but this is true. You could trade back, get your second round pick. You could, select Brock Bowers. You could select Patanu. You could select Fuaga. You could select Bishano if he's there. So if it was up to me, I'm either my thing would be I'm happy with either a wide receiver like Odunze, but Odunze, to be fair, I was reading some Jet X Factor articles, or I was reading, Joe Blewett stuff. He's like, Odunze is kind of a duplicate to the to the skill sets of Mike Williams and Alan Lazard. So why do you need another jump ball guy? You need somebody, maybe you need speed, like a guy like, maybe you trade back, go in the second round, you go Lad McConkey or Roman Wilson, a shorter receiver that could take guys downfield with their speed. So I don't think, like, as long as they don't go defense, I'm not going to be mad. I'm not going to be mad if they trade back. I'm not going to be mad if they select Brock Bowers or a tackle, because, like, I see the points against, taking a tackle. You want a playmaker to win now and all that shit. Excuse me, but in terms of offensive line, like, you need depth. If anything of us been taught last season, you need depth, and you need to. Honestly, you can't plan for the future afterwards. And, this is all in year what we've been saying the entire time. You need a guy like Fatanu or Fashanu that can sit behind Tyron Smith. When he goes down, he's the next man up.
See, this is what I wanted to bring up, and you bring legit points. It seems like the Jets fan base is divided in quarters. First, I don't want Bowers. I want a receiver. I don't want a receiver or a tight end. I want an offensive tackle. We need to trade down and recoup that second round pick that we gave to Green Bay last year. No, it is a all-in year. If Alt or Maserati Marvin drops down to 6 or 7, you trade up. It's all in. All these scenarios, everything. I'm going to put a check mark on all of them and not put you're wrong. You're all right. Why? Because of what Joe Douglas has done thus far. It's not even April yet. 2 days away. It's Easter. Guys, if I would have told you that by Easter, right before Easter, the majority of our gaping holes would have been filled, except for safety and backup running back. But these are things that you can actually get in the draft. Like with with safety, you can. Quandre Diggs is still there.
Justin Simmons.
Micah Hyde is still there. Simmons is still there. Or, you know what? Let's take that scenario from 10, drop down, trade back, get yourself a second rounder. What if you come out in the first 2 picks with Brian Thomas, 6'4", 4.3 top speed, and Cam Kitchens, safety from Miami? Dude, that guy is, I hate to say it, very Ed Reedish. Like he's a ball hawk, and he will knock your daylights out, like craziness. So we have that because of Joe Douglas. Now, me personally, I'm torn because at 10, I want Bowers. I want firepower.
Oh, yeah.
I want all that because and me and Liam, we spoke about this ad nauseum. I hate tight ends in the first round. I hate it. As a longtime Jet fan, I remember Johnny Mitchell. I remember Kyle Brady. I mean, Dustin Keller was cool, but he was more of a top kind of second rounder because we were kind of like at the edge and whatnot. I'm cool with that. Then when we should have selected Heath Miller, we traded that pick to the Raiders and we got Duck Jolly. But Bowers, what I see with Bowers, the potential of a Travis Kelce, Tony Gonzalez, and a Gronk. A guy that can take over a drive, not a game, a drive, where you just keep feeding him the ball. Over and over. Playmaker. You have him. You have Garrett Wilson. Maybe we get Boyd again from Cincinnati. Again, I don't think Lazard is making this team. You
don't think so?
I don't think so. But again, we got the guy from Mike Williams. But we don't know if he's going to be ready by week 1. We don't know yet. But if he's fully healthy, just the mere fact that we know that the Chargers wanted him back, we know that the rehab was going pretty well. You have that at the disposal of Aaron Rodgers, something that Aaron Rodgers has wanted ever since the early days of the Green Bay Packers when he took over for Favre. We had Jennings, Donald Driver. What's 87?
Jordy Nelson?
Dude, absolutely. Look at the damage that he did. And then look at what happened afterwards. He did the best what he could with what he had. He didn't have playmakers. Yes, he had Randall Cobb in his prime. That's it.
Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams. I stand corrected. but he wanted more. And now the Jets can give him that alongside with Breece Hall, who they already have.
Yeah, absolutely. And I understand the want for Bowers. I don't really see him as like, I'm not going to say he's, trash or anything, but I don't see him like the Tony Gonzalez type. Like I see him more as like the thinner tight end, like, Dalton Kincaid was drafted last year.
Right.
Like he's like, again, as Wild Waves are saying, he's more of a hybrid. He can play wide receiver. He could essentially be like your wide receiver 2 at the tight end position.
Right.
Like almost like an Evan Ingram of sorts. Like
Bowers?
In terms of that. Not that he's going to be as bad as it. Not that Evan Ingram's bad at that, but I'm saying like he's not much more of a block. He's not a blocking tight end, at least from what I know. But he's like that hybrid. He could play. He could line up at tight end. He could line up in the slot. He could line up outside, create mismatches.
Yes,
but I don't think he's that Gronky type of tight end.
I watched him at Georgia. I'm like that is not a tight end. That's a freak. That's a cyborg. Like Skynet made him. That's how I looked at him. I'm like, that is not real. I'm telling you, dude, if you ever have a chance, don't watch the highlights. Watch the highlights.
Film.
Watch film, which I know you guys do. Watch film. He can block. He can do all the little things, but he can take over a drive to a point where the team around him becomes better. Like imagine. That's why I think we haven't even touched Garrett Wilson's potential at all.
Oh, he still can grow.
He hasn't even touched that. There's no plateau with him. He did all of what he did the past 2 years with absolute scrubs at the quarterback position, if you think about it. Right? He had the number 1 catch of the 2023 season, and that was one of the worst passes. Back shoulder throws that you could ever see. And that
he played defense. He legitimately played defense on that throw. Like I was watching it, he was looking up for the ball. He had to get it away from Tre'Davious White. It bounced to and he had to corral it with one hand. It was like amazing. And yeah, I agree with you. I don't think Garrett Wilson's touched his potential yet. And again, as you said, he had a bunch of crappy quarterbacks. So it only just elevates his ceiling even more.
Now I'm going to bring up a very sensitive topic here.
Okay.
And I want to hear your opinion on this.
Okay.
Let me do this here. So this past week, there was a couple of rule changes, 2 of which I am not a big fan of. Not a big one. First one is this here. Examples of the swivel hip drop tackle. Can you guys see it?
Not yet.
How's that? Is that better?
Haven't seen it.
Okay, and share. Very cool. Okay. You guys see it, right?
Yep.
We see the tackle occur about once a game.
Okay. So we see that and we're like, oh, I get it. You got to do it. But these are egregious ones. Like I get it. These are ones that, but it's just like they're setting the games up for the refs to decide the ball games, even more. Like if we're waiting, it's a 4th and 1, and the Jets stop the running back in the backfield. It's a tackle. Again, the defenses can't do anything anymore. How do you teach a defensive player how to even tackle? And now instead of 4th and 1, same old Jets, we blew another game. No, we didn't. See, they screwed us twice in 2 years already, especially with Michael Carter. Michael Carter caught a touchdown, caught an interception against.
I was at that game. I was at that game.
That is whatever they call. Was it a late hit or something like that?
It was a personal foul, roughing the passer against JFM.
Oh my goodness! And I remember watching that, and I'm like, I really hope that the fans see what's going on. This is BS. That was not it. They're stealing the game away from the Jets. And then last year against the Chiefs, what a game, dude. Again, not a big Zach Wilson fan, but he balled out that game. Balled out.
Yeah.
Should have won that game. That should have been, again, one of our other wins where we would have been, 8-9. And this year, it's messing up the sport, man. Like that Geno Smith one. This one.
Yeah.
That's not egregious, dude. That's it. Because Geno is giving himself up as a quarterback.
Right.
That's going to be 15 yards tacked on. What is the NFL trying to do here, man? Maybe you can enlighten me.
It sounds like we're shifting towards. I know this has been a repetitive tweet over my timeline. Looks like we're shifting towards flag football almost. Like just grab the flag. But like, let's just say said running back. I'll throw out a random running back out there. Joe Mixon. He's about to go the distance. You're a defensive back. What if you have to make that hip drop tackle to bring him down? What are you just let him walk for the touchdown? He's like just say. He's 50 yards down the field already. You are the only one who could bring him down. And if you have to make that tackle, what are you going to get 15 yards tacked on? Or you have to let him walk for the touchdown? Like it just doesn't make any sense. Like I understand player safety and all that, but there's a fine line, right? You don't want the sport to be overly dangerous, right? And that's understandable. But there's also a fine line, like right in the middle, like don't be so soft, but yet as I said, fine line. There's risks to playing football, like actual football, not flag football, not two-hand touch football, not one-hand touch football, actual tackle football.
That's what exactly. The football isn't the same, man. I'm telling you, the greats, the ones that are in the Hall of Fame would not be there right now.
No.
Jack Tatum.
Imagine, I know he's probably not a Hall of Famer. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. James Harrison,
Ronnie Lott. They would knock your head off. But again, they played within the rules. They came a million miles an hour because they're in that safety spot and they see a guy coming at them like a Christian Okoye, who, again, if you're an NFL historian, this guy was an absolute beast. Like 280 pounds. He used to play for the Chiefs. You don't even have to go back that much. Brandon Jacobs. How do you pull him down? Derrick Henry. What? How?
Right.
You're going to go at his legs? His knee is going to hit you right in your helmet, and you're gone. So I have to hip drop him. I have to grab onto his hips and pull him down. How else am I going to bring him down, dude?
Like what? Another player that was great, rest in peace, Sean Taylor. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
It's killing the game. And another thing, again, right? It's easy for me to say that they're killing the game. I don't play but again, everyone, like you said, chooses their profession. If you know you're going into something that it has risks, but the rewards are high, then you know what you're getting yourself into. This year, you don't even know what to do as a defensive player. You have no idea. You have no idea. What do you do on 4th and 1? What do you do? Goal line stance. How do you tackle someone in the backfield? It will destroy. I'm sorry, man. I know that the NFL is flying high right now, and they want to get as many viewers as possible, especially now that they want to put a game on, what is it, Christmas? And it's Christmas.
Christmas, yes, Christmas. On a Wednesday, nonetheless. But another, I'll tell you this: if they care so much about player safety, right, and they invoke that stupid hip drop tackle rule, why are teams possibly getting 3 days of rest between Sunday and Wednesday? 3 days.
There is none. So for that Wednesday game, they're going to have those 4 teams because it's a doubleheader, right? Because the more players, more player safety, not. Those teams are going to play the Saturday before. So they'll have 4 days of rest. In a grueling sport, you're going to give them 4 days.
It just doesn't make a difference to me. It's money grabbing.
To me, it becomes like the WWF at this point. It's entertainment. So what am I watching? Because I know for a fact the football that I grew up watching was pure. I'm going to leave it at that. You guys can conjure whatever conspiracy theory, but whatever you're thinking, that's what I'm trying to allude. Because this does not seem legitimate right now. I don't like this. I don't like these rules.
No, I know. I know.
And here's another one. Let me see if I can pull this one up. Oh, you're gonna love this one. This one is my favorite. And if you know what I'm talking about,
I might.
Here we go. So the NFL, they changed this rule here. Let me see here. You see it?
All
right. So this is the new format of kickoffs from the XFL. I'm going to give you a fun tidbit on what the XFL is doing this year. This is your new NFL. They punt it. Guy catches it. Live ball. Hey, guess what? 1 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. That's what this is turning into. Guess what the XFL did today? Right? There was a game today.
Right.
They're not doing that anymore.
They're not.
The XFL is becoming more watchable than the NFL. It's straight up kickoff. Straight up. You know, and before we start going into this, because I'm livid with this one. Number one, guys, thank you so much, everyone in the chat, on Twitter, listening and watching this. I mean,
please,
it's amazing right now that we're up to like 48 watchers. Thank you so much. We're going to drop the link out there right now in just a little bit. You guys can call in. This is the Insomnia, edition here. Please click on that subscribe button. It means a lot to us. We're trying to get, out there. We're going to have a very, very special guest next Saturday night. He used to work for WFAN. Not going to say his name, but you guys can, put together certain things. He used to be with Boomer in the morning. Used to be with Boomer in Evan in the afternoon. I'm just going to leave it at that. Anyway, with that, if you can, just hit that subscribe button. Would mean the world to us. Now, let's get back to this thing. This thing is really, it's bugging me, man. It's pissing me off. I don't like this. So now, my big question was, so there's no more onside kicks? Because Thomas Morstead got really upset. He said,
"Yeah, there's no. Yeah, you have to let him know that you're doing an onside kick. That takes the fun out of an onside kick because it's supposed to be a surprise."
How sick is that? Like, to me, when you're watching an NFL game, you're thinking, man, we just scored 2 touchdowns. We're up 14-0. Wouldn't it be awesome to just keep pouring it on? Just do an onside kick? Nope, that is gone. You have to let the ref know.
Right.
What are you doing? I mean, it's already difficult enough with the kicker trying to kick the top of it to spin it and make it bounce. And now all of a sudden, there's no element of surprise. I'm telling you, if the Saints in that Super Bowl against the Colts didn't come out in that second half with that onside kick, Manning would have had 3 Super Bowls. There's no way.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
It's surreal, in my opinion. I just don't understand that. But what other changes do you see coming next year?
I honestly don't know. I think that kickoff rule is applies to the old adage, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. What were they trying to fix? What were they trying to fix with that rule?
I don't see concussions.
The XFL literally, as you said, just went off of that kickoff. They're going normal now. Why? Doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It seems like, what's next year? Is next year, I'm going to throw this out there because you never know, because I never expect these 2 changes to happen. What?
Right.
In a shotgun, you're going to wait to 2 seconds and then rush? Because it's getting to the point where I don't know what's normal. What, brushing your teeth with a Dremel? That's normal. It's going to be like, all right, you know what? It is what it is. It's the NFL. It's the new norm. I want football back, man. I mean, how many times do we watch football games in general? And it's not only the Jets, because obviously we love our Jets. We love them. Win or lose.
I just want to, even though I was a lot younger, I want to go back to 2010s, 2011 football was watchable.
100%, man. There's holding in every play. It's up to the ref to be like, all right, that's holding. But at the most crucial point of the game, if you called it all game, be like, all right, you know what? Let the boys just play, man. It's the fourth quarter. That's where the rules to me have to change. You know what? Once we all meet up, owners meeting in 2025, we got to let them play. We got to be a little bit more lenient in the fourth quarter. All right. But
because they're fighting for their game lives.
Man, it just sucks, man. You know, the Chiefs losing in the Super Bowl, right? Like what, 2-3 years ago, and then they go back. The fans are already like, all right, you know what? We were Super Bowl champs already. If you screw us a game here and there, well, we know what the feeling is to win a Super Bowl. But you got teams like us, like the Bengals, you know, like again the Jaguars, or all these teams that the Cardinals who've never won anything. They get all the way there, and then you strip them. That's what sucks, man. And Ricky hits it. He hits it. It's tackle football. I miss the days of watching jacked up on freaking ESPN. Big hits. Dude, I remember playing ball, man. And it was 2. Well, it was 3, right? 3 kind of, you know, football. But we didn't have flags, man, in freaking Brooklyn.
Right, of course.
It was 2-hand touch or tackle.
You're right.
That's it. It was 2-hand touch. What do you want to play? Majority rules, tackle. If we didn't have the flags to pull out, we didn't have yellow flags to throw at you. We knew what the rules were.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're running and there's a drop kind of tackle, you knew it. You're done. It's over. Let's go to the next play. It's tackle. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And yeah,
you knew the risk too. See, the thing is, you knew the risk too. If somebody got hurt, like, oh well, you know, that's a part of the game. That's what you would say. You wouldn't say, oh, you know, let's change this rule. No, you would. If you got tackled and you got a pinch hurt, you'd be freaking dealing with it.
That's all it was, man. Or it was 2-hand touch, but I know you know, you're in the Bronx, right? In the Brooklyn Bronx.
Brooklyn, yeah.
I
mean, I'll tell you this.
You're the same breed as me, man. I'm telling you, 2-hand touch. It wasn't pity pat. It was a shove, bro.
Yeah.
Like I remember I was always quarterback, just throwing, or if I had a run, I'm flying. As soon as they hit me, I got them. There was no, I went like that. All right. No, none of that. If you do that, you're gone. Like,
yeah, they're just laughing at you.
Yeah, you're off. We're not friends anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was playing, it was a couple of years ago. I would say like 2019 or 2020. We were out on the, we're actually on a turf like soccer field. We were playing football, and I think my friend's friend was running back an interception. My brother is going for a tackle. All of a sudden, he gets absolutely blindsided and absolutely put to the ground by this bigger guy. And it was so fun to watch. But you know, it's like a memory like we all enjoy as like a friend group. But you know what? Nobody's complaining.
Nobody. And yeah, Wild Wave, 100%. They just to make sure that they knew that there was no question marks. Dude,
exactly.
Man, again, it's, you know, there is no segue to come off of that, right? There is no segue to come off of this topic. But all right, so now we're heading into the draft. Do you, at some point, obviously I don't see rounds 1, and obviously we don't have a second rounder or 3. Do you think the Jets might use a 4th rounder on a quarterback?
I see it happening. If the choice was mine, it would be Jordan Travis.
Oh, FSU, man. Love him.
I've heard very good things about him. Unfortunately, he got hurt. But you know, listen, I'm not saying this to bedevil the kid. Like him sitting out an extra year having not to play.
Oof.
Just let him learn. All he can do is learn. I'm not saying this kid's going to be the future starter of the Jets and a franchise quarterback, but you know what? Let the kid learn. I think he is the best. I think he or Spencer Rattler is the best 4th round talent you got out there. I'm not a fan of Joe.
That's the guy.
Spencer Rattler, yes. I'm not a fan of Joe Milton. I watched him at the Senior Bowl. I watched him, during the practices. I think he has the raw talent in terms of athleticism and running. He just does not, his accuracy's off. He played in a very simplistic offense in Tennessee where it was all one read. So that is that. Carter Bradley is more like a 6th-round guy. Same thing with like Michael Pratt. But to me, if I'm looking for a quarterback in the 4th round, it's Jordan Travis or Spencer Rattler.
I'm all in on Rattler. I'm all in on him, and I get it. A lot of people are like, all right, you always want to compare. You want to compare. I see a lot of a raw Patrick Mahomes. And obviously that didn't come out right, but you guys know what I meant.
Right.
He has those intangibles where he could just escape, has a gun for an arm, throws it, makes things happen. And I get it. There was like some rocky issues in college and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
I get it. But again, you're young. You're young. You make mistakes. You learn from it. And that's what it all boils down to, right?
If you're mentally tough as well.
Exactly. Now, why I mean, like, he reminds me a lot of Mahomes is those intangibles, of course. But I'm also thinking of the prospect of him sitting down. Just like Mahomes did 1 year behind Alex Smith. You have someone like Rattler there. And now, let's say 2025, after we come off of a Super Bowl win, which I am actually expecting. I'm sorry. When you say all in year, the GM is all in, the head coach is all in, the owner, you like him or not, and the fans are all in.
Heightened expectations.
You kidding? Aaron Rodgers is coming back. You're fixing you fixed the offensive line. Finally, we have our 5 starters on the offensive line going into the off-season training, mini camp, and then training camp. Once week 1 hits, there's crazy cohesion. That's what you want.
As long as they, obviously, as you said, as long as they practice together and, gel together.
As long as they gel together, which I think they will, especially as long as Aaron Rodgers is there healthy, he will. Now you have someone like Spencer Rattler behind Rodgers, not as a backup. Again, a full red shirt year completely.
Yes.
Right? Because now he's
inactive in every game.
At 100%. And he's learning 2 different styles of quarterbacking. Hall of Fame quarterbacking. And then you have a straight up legit veteran that this is what we wanted last year backing up Rodgers.
Tyrod Taylor.
Immense. I get it. He gets injured. I understand. Everybody knows that.
He does run himself into those idiot plays, but I think he is a very doable backup quarterback.
Extremely. And that's it. Now he learns from a quarterback like that. And both of whom, they make plays. When stuff breaks down, they know, okay, you know what? Let's make something happen. Spencer Rattler is that. And the kid from FSU, if the Jets get him, oh my goodness. It is a blessing in disguise of what happened to the kid last year. Because
he's just going to learn. He's just going to learn.
If he would have played last year, I think he would have been in the conversation of probably being maybe the 5th quarterback taken off the board. Honestly, I honestly
possibly, quite possibly. I agree with you. And another thing, like our buddy Angry John, we did our own scouting reports for the guys down at the Senior Bowl. I talked to John. I'm like, John, what do you think of Spencer Rattler? He's like, he's really freaking talented, but I think he's boomer bust being in the 4th round. Like, he's that good.
Right. Yeah, no, completely. But I see, again, like what Ricky said, I see the same at Travis. But now I'm going to throw this little A-bomb here.
Okay.
It's an all-in year. We don't have that many draft picks because, again, we're missing that 2nd rounder. So we need impact players. So rounds 1, then 3, then you got 2 picks in 4. If you choose a quarterback in round 4, is Rodgers going to be on board with it? I get it. We're not doing something like with Jordan Love, like in the 1st round or whatnot. Right. But is Aaron Rodgers going to say, wait, hold on a second. I'm not tutoring anyone. Zach was Zach. I like Zach. We had a history before. I came here. I vouched for the kid. Yeah, but I'm not gonna waste my time on this year. It's all in. Or do you think he'll have that other kind of perspective of, All right, you got me a playmaker or an offensive tackle at 10. You got me another weapon in the third round. You got me another weapon with one of your fourth rounders. Okay, you know what? That's fine. What road do you think Rodgers is going to take? The high road or his road? Because he's an enigma, right? Like he is.
Yeah, he's
very
his own guy.
unorthodox. Yeah, you don't know where he's going to be going with this.
I think Ricky brings up a great point. I want to say, first off, with the quarterbacks, like Rattler could get snagged off the practice squad. And I know I was talking to a buddy of mine who I obviously met down to the Senior Bowl. He's like, one of the concerns with taking a quarterback is you're taking one spot up on the roster who could be used for somebody else. Now, if you like, the thing is with the fourth round, that's usually for depth. That's usually for, basically it's a lottery shot almost because, every pick's a crapshoot in the NFL draft, but there's some guys that could, you may not expect to be starters, but eventually become starters. There's guys that, you might expect to be starters, but, are actually high level backups, all this different stuff. So let's just say, I'm going to map it out right now. Let's just go.
Let's do it.
Jets, let's just say they go offensive tackle. Wait, let me think about it. They go offensive tackle. They throw Troy Fontenot at 10, okay? Round 3, they select Devontae Walker. Let's say he's there from North Carolina.
Okay.
You got yourself, a tackle weapon, and, there's how much starters do you have to fill in the offense, realistically? Think about it. You would have Garrett Wilson, Devontae Walker, Mike Williams, and Alan Lazard as your receivers. Gibson is your 5. Obviously, I would think you need a starting slot receiver, but the thing is with Walker, and Mike Williams, you can throw Garrett Wilson in the slot for mismatches. Wilson has that speed. He doesn't. I know he's only 6'0", but he has the mismatches on the slot, so he can burn slot corners easily. And tackles are set pretty much. You drafted a tackle just in case. Tight ends are mostly set. You have Ruckert and Tyler Conklin. I think Conklin is very underrated still. Ruckert, I think we have a lot yet to see still. Zach Kuntz, I don't think there's really much about him, but I think, maybe the Jets, continue to develop it. Who knows? But outside of maybe picking a running back in round 4, which you still can do, you mentioned you have 2 round 4 picks. Mm-hmm. Why not take a shot? You could select the safety too if you wanted, but why not?
It's true. I mean, you see right here, Wild Wave brings a good point, right? And I said that at the beginning of the show. 2025 picks are absolutely in play because Joe Douglas has no idea if he's going to be here next year.
Exactly. 100%.
Woody Johnson gave him the keys to the Ferrari. He is burning that transmission completely. The clutch is gone completely. So I was in, a couple of spaces this morning.
Right.
Great spaces, actually. I don't know if you guys know, Joe and Clark has an amazing space. And I threw it out there. I was like, you know what? What if the Jets trade back in? If Fuaga is there and you got yourself Odunze at 10 and he drops down and you could trade up. You're trading assets. All in. This is it.
Draft picks. It's like I'm sorry to interrupt again, but it's like the draft picks don't matter. What about our first round pick? Nobody's going to care about our draft picks for next year. This is the year. We have missed the playoffs for 13 years in a row. Joe Douglas has not, and Salah have not had winning seasons. So it's on the table for them. They're going to try their best to be creative and go all in. So I'm worried about 2025 first. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter to them.
I can't anymore, man. That drives me so crazy when I hear, yeah, no, you can't mortgage next year or the year after and the year. We have been mortgaging our time as Jets fans for some freaking 50 years. If this is the year to cover all the bases, go for it. By all means. I mean, to Ricky's point, yes, I get it. But again, with Rodgers, it's a little different. But now I want to propose something here. What if we trade into the second round top? Are you opposed to drafting Michael Penix? And after you answer this, we're going to go to Charles.
Okay. The quarterback, Penix, I am not opposed to. That kid has talent up the wazoo. I have high hopes for him. That early?
Oh, you think he's going to drop?
No, I'm not saying. I meant to say not Penix himself. I'm saying quarterback that early.
Okay.
I love Penix. I watched him in the college football playoffs. That dude single-handedly out-dueled Caleb Williams. That kid's phenomenal. If it wasn't for the injuries, he'd be a first-round pick, 110%. But the problem is, the injuries are obviously a problem.
Yeah, big problem.
But man. Even with age, there's a good point, Wild Wave. Age. How old is Penix now? Let's look this up. I'm going to look it up right now. A question is, how long is Penix going to be sitting for? Let's see. Penix. Michael Penix Jr., he's 23 years old. Let's just say he's going to be turning 24 this year. He's born in 2000.
Oh, my God.
So let's just say he sits 2 years, right? He sits this year. He sits next year. His starting season is 26 years old. That's right in his prime. And you're expecting him to be okay, I'm in my prime. I'm going to be a top 15 quarterback, or at least try to elevate my game.
Oh, yeah. No, that's like drafting Chris Wenke from the Florida State Seminoles back in the day, where he's 30. He's a 31-year-old rookie. Now, with that being said, yes, exactly. Oh, my God. Yeah, exactly. Now, here, we're going to bring up Charles. Charles, my man, what is up, brother? Welcome.
How you doing, Dan? How are you?
I am amped, dude. It is about to be 11 p.m. We're talking Jets. I'm amped. Luca is just, you see his eyes? He's psychotic. Luca's psychotic.
I wouldn't say he's psychotic.
I love
Look, man, don't mind me. I just came back for the Easter Vigil at one of my local Catholic churches. So,
happy Easter to everybody, man. I went last night. Amazing. It was, I loved it. I love this time of the year.
I do too. Look, to be honest with you, I was very shocked at the Hassan Reddick trade. I was like, what? They traded for this guy? Right. Holy shit, we are beast as edge rushers now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, as for the draft, look, I saw this kid, Michael Penix, play a little bit, especially against Bo Nix. I've been very impressed with this young man. And I think, look, I understand he got his ass kicked by Michigan in the national title game, but I like this composure. I like the fact he didn't let the pressure get into his head. It didn't rattle him too much.
Monster point.
And I like the fact he kept his poise, even if they were just getting beat up front. The defensive line was pressuring his ass all game long. And even though Michigan primarily just ran the hell out of the football, he kept his poise, which is something that we've all wanted from a quarterback. We haven't had that from a quarterback since Chad Pennington. I mean, Chad Pennington had a lot of poise.
Yes,
and he was the last quarterback we did right. Because remember, when we drafted him in 2000, he sat behind a couple years behind a solid veteran of Vinny Testaverde.
That's my man.
And then when his time came, Chad Pennington took over, and the rest was history. Now it's like as soon as they draft the quarterback, you're going to be starting. You're going to be starting. You're going to be starting. It's like, no, let these guys develop. Let these guys sit behind veterans. And my dad's been saying that for the past few times.
You nailed it, Charles. You nailed it because, again, we did that with Mark Sanchez, right? So, and it's funny because so many people forget that rookie year with Mark, how many times the defense bailed him out, how many times the running game bailed him out. Do you guys remember his rookie year when he played against the Bills here at home? I think he threw for 4 interceptions. It was
actually, my friend, it was 5. And that pissed me off more than a butt fumble.
One of the worst outings. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh my God, I guess week 1, week 2, that game against the Titans where we were sporting the Titans of old, it was all a myth. It was hot air. It sucked. And I just felt so bad. But then, the whole season unraveled. We went into the playoffs. It was vintage Sanchez. Sanchez came into his own for that little bit, that little window. But you're right. What if Sanchez would have sat behind a Brett Favre? I think maybe things would have turned a little bit differently. There are very few quarterbacks that come into this league and just rip it. Herbert, he surprised the hell out of me. Coming from Oregon and what he did when he played for the Chargers, balled out completely. Peyton Manning, Yes, he had 28 touchdowns, 28 interceptions in that first year. I get it. But it was one of those where you're like, whoa, these are franchise quarterbacks. Andrew Luck, another one, comes in, boom. And then you get someone like Zach Wilson, who you knew right off the bat. You knew it, that he was as raw as a freaking onion. You knew it. You needed to get him ripe with the right people around him. And you had the right quarterback coach. And, again, God rest his soul, Greg Knapp. There was no contingency plan behind that.
That's the
what
problem.
do they do? Oh, you guys learn? It's your first time? So whatever you learn.
I think he had John Beck the rest of his rookie season.
Halfway.
That's his personal coach, though. That's not a season coach.
Personal coach. Yeah.
And Zach Wilson played better with him than he did the rest of his last 2 years.
That's true.
They didn't call him back the next year then. That's
like some sort of arrogance on their part. Like, okay, we can do better. We got this now.
Right.
But
exactly.
Dan, I just want to mention something real quick. Like, you think of the best quarterbacks across the NFL. You mentioned Justin Herbert. He sat behind behind Tyrod Taylor before Tyrod Taylor got hurt. Lamar Jackson sat behind Joe Flacco for a couple of games. You mentioned Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen sat behind a game from what's his name? Nathan Peterman. I know Peterman's a terrible quarterback. We all know. I don't know how he keeps getting contracts, but like there's some really good quarterbacks across the NFL. Rodgers sat behind, obviously Brett Favre. A lot of good to elite quarterbacks, in my opinion, at least how I see it. Kirk, like, not that he's a great quarterback. Kirk Cousins sat behind somebody and watched.
Right.
Robert Griffin III.
Yes, exactly. Well, they came in together. They came in the same draft class, but still.
Robert Griffin III was special coming out of college.
Yeah.
What hurt him was injuries.
Mm-hmm. He was a
beast. He was tremendous his rookie season. Oh my God. What he did for Washington that year was insane.
Out of that run that he did, I forgot who he did it with. He did it against the Eagles?
The Minnesota Vikings.
The Vikings.
We outran everybody.
Charles, you have an amazing memory, dude. And I'm going to leave it at that because we have to start bringing some guys on. Thank you so much for coming on, brother.
You too, man. Have a good Easter.
You too, man. Have a great one. Later. Good stuff.
You know who's also like another real quick examples? Okay. Russell Wilson also sat behind. What was I going to say? Not Brissett, but Wilson's another example. Just got to throw that out there.
Well, like the wild part, right?
Jalen Hurts as well.
Look at Tom Brady, right? When he was with the Pats, like every quarterback that subbed in, they did good. You had Matt Castle came in. They didn't make the playoffs. They went, what was it, 11-5?
11-5.
Yo, that was the best. And the crazy part about that year was that was the year where Pennington won the East at Giants
with the Dolphins.
With the Dolphins. That one, as again, I hate the Giants and the Dolphins more than any two teams. I give the Pats a pass. I know you guys might start leaving the channel right now. I despise the Giants and the Dolphins. But when Chad won it, how the Jets did him dirty, and it was the last game of the season, I didn't know what to feel. I was like, dude, I'm really happy for Chad. But then the following week when he played against the Ravens, I knew that, Rex Ryan was going to be our head coach. But now with that being said, we're going to bring up a good buddy of ours. My man. What's up, bro? You got a haircut. Look at you.
Yeah, he does.
I got him all cut.
Whoa. Easy there, buddy. You're calling us before you're going out tonight, huh? I see what's going on.
My going out days are over.
Yeah, I don't think so. I see what you're doing.
That's you young guys. You young guys.
No, I go out to take the garbage out. That's as far as I go. Luke, on the other hand,
relinquished that to my son. So I have to remind him every time. Oh, Armand.
That's awesome, man. Awesome. But what are your thoughts, man? What you got going through? I mean, it was such an eventful Friday. It's like Joe D is hitting it out of the park, like late nights, early mornings, Friday nights. It's like he's hitting the okay button.
Whatever, you got to make the deals whenever. You got to pitch them, and then you got to hope they get back to you.
Do you see? Do you see an upgrade, or do you just see that Joe Douglas filled the gap with Reddick. I see an upgrade over.
No,
Huff.
definitely upgrade, definitely because
definitely.
he's a 3-down. He's a 3-down edge.
Yes,
You know, but it'll benefit him if he's rotated. It'll keep him refreshed, and he doesn't have to worry about wearing down.
100%. Now, just want to take a little bit of a break here. 72 people watching. Again, thank you for tuning in. I'm going to throw the link out there. Again, I need you guys to call in. It's 11 o'clock at night. It is fun times to be a Jet fan. If you just have half a second to spare, just click that subscribe button. It just means the world to us. Again, we're going to have a lot of guests coming on, and just want to promote this right out there. It's such Jets fans, just being Jets fans. So
I like this late night.
you like it?
Yeah.
I love it, man. I'm telling you, I'm not going to lie to you, right? I'm at that age, that 42,
All right.
I'm at that age
Relax.
where I fell asleep. I fell asleep
Relax.
at 9. I'm there with the family. We're watching, I don't know, the princess one with the Frozen thing with the icicles. And I'm falling asleep, and I'm like, oh, man, I got a show at 10. But then around 9:30, oh, man, Luca hit me up. I got that second win. I'm like, yo, let's do it, baby. Let's do it. I'm all in. I'm all in. Now, what other moves do you see the Jets making?
I'm hoping they go for another wide receiver. Then really makes their draft so unpredictable at that point.
T. Higgins? Do you see a T. Higgins?
No, I don't think they have enough to do that.
Would you do it?
No.
But you'd have to give it the 10.
No. I don't think you would have to do that.
Oh yeah,
you would probably. I don't think you would have to go that much. Probably both of our 4s, and
it's
maybe
gonna cost you more than that.
And maybe next year's first.
Yeah.
Are you willing to mortgage next year's first for T. Higgins, if that's all what it took?
The question is the money, because he wants a big contract.
I wouldn't. I would drop down and get Brian Thomas. I see the exact same player in faster.
The problem with dropping down is who's coming up. Everyone says that drop back. Hey, how you doing, Ada?
It depends who's available.
The problem is who was the guy at 10 that someone wants to come up for. I want that too. I like to recoup that number 2.
Yeah.
But that's why I hope like a quarterback falls at 10 for us. That's wanted,
right?
Imagine like JJ McCarthy possibly falls.
It all depends on what the Giants do.
Yeah.
That'll set the draft. But someone's going to move up. What is it? The Giants are what, 6 or 5?
Yep, 6.
Check that out right now.
6. So there's
5 is the 4 is the Cardinals. Wait,
right.
4 is the Cardinals.
5 is the Chargers.
5 is the Chargers. 6 is the Giants.
Right.
9 is the Bears. 8 is the Falcons. I forget who 7 is.
I'm gonna pick that up right now. Let me see it. 7. We got Tennessee. So
yep.
So now if we go Bears at 1, they're probably gonna get Caleb, but I honestly think probably Caleb. Washington probably they're gonna go May. New England is I don't know.
They're probably they say Daniels is the pick at 2.
Yeah, that's possible. He could very well go to 2.
May falls to the Patriots.
Who's the number 1 edge again? I keep forgetting his name.
Jared Verse?
No. There's another
Dallas
guy.
Turner.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
I see him at 10, but not for the Jets. That's where I could see the Jets going down. Again, it's a top 10 pick. So you could actually make an argument that they can jump up ahead of the Minnesota Vikings or the Broncos. Again, the Vikings need a quarterback. The Broncos need a quarterback. Dare I say the Raiders need a quarterback? Yes or no?
They don't really got a proven answer, so it wouldn't surprise me if they selected one.
11, 12, 13. They need a quarterback. So if one of these quarterbacks drop to 10, you never know. Never know. Because, I'm sorry.
Does Tennessee need an edge?
I mean, they have obviously Simmons on the interior. I don't think they have an edge presence at all. I'll double check though.
I'm wondering because that would be good for us too if they take an edge because that'll drop Alt down to us possibly.
Well, if Alt goes down to 8 to the Falcons, I see Joe Douglas calling the Falcons.
I don't think the Falcons. I think will go with a defensive player.
So
the Falcons?
go ahead.
Probably a corner.
Really?
But
no, I think they would probably they
weren't strong on defense this year.
Yeah,
they were strong on offense. I think.
Well, they
got to remember it's one or the other.
Aren't they? Wait, don't they have
Everyone
Cousins?
thinks
They
that
have Cousins.
Tennessee's going to grab Alt.
Everybody sees it.
Yeah.
But again, that could be an enormous surprise if Tennessee does not get Alt. Now, again, at 7, if Odunze and Alt are there and Tennessee goes with a defensive player, 8 becomes the hottest spot on the draft board. That's where I think the Jets, in an all-in year, they may have to say, you know what? Let's do it. Because, again, I'm sorry, Odunze, Alt, and Marvin Harrison. Holy smokes, if that would ever happen, that would be mind-blowing.
Harrison will probably be taken by the
Cardinals
at 4.
No, I don't know if they trust
The
Murray.
only way that he doesn't go at 4 is if the Chargers trade up to grab a quarterback at 4.
Right. I see Kyler Murray being traded. I honestly see on a draft.
I think after this year he's traded.
Doesn't he have a big contract?
He does.
He does, but they have a new head coach, right?
Jonathan Gannon hired last year.
Oh yeah. Oh well. Anything is on the table. Again, the draft is right where the true colors show. To see if they stay with certain quarterbacks or not.
It's at that 10 spot. It's just like who falls there that someone wants to come up for. You know what I'm saying? I would love to trade back, but it's easier said than done. I think it's easier to move up than it is to trade back.
If the Jets trade back to 14, I think Bowers is there. I don't think I love Bowers. We just went through the whole thing. Yeah. I don't see any other team coveting Bowers the way how the Jets do in the top 10. I think Bowers can drop to 16 easily, but if we trade back to 14 and Bowers is there, we get our playmaker 14, then we get a second. Wow.
That would be something.
Trade Reed and a second for T. Higgins. So who do you put? Oh, Mitchell. Oh, in the second round. Okay. All right. I mean, it's a possibility, but I do like the last part. I think McGovern comes back.
Oh yeah, I think so too.
I think he comes back, and I think that's a power move if you do that. You're not asking him to be your starter. You're just asking him to just quality depth.
And I think he knows that. I think he knows that this in this stage of his career.
Yeah.
He's not going to break the bank for us, man. No, not at all. But now with that, we're going to bring on our good friend here, my man from the West Coast, Jose. ¿Cómo estás, mi amigo?
Muy bien.
Jose.
Uncle Afim.
Tío Afim. Tío.
What's up, Jose?
What up, Luca? How are you?
What's up, Jose? I'm good.
I think he called you loca.
Sometimes I can be.
You're crazy, man. What's going on, brother? You got your fan base here. Look at that. Jose.
Yes.
What's up, man? Tell us. Do you like this? Do you like this late night? Well, over there,
yes,
what is it? Like 7 a.m. over there?
It is about to be.
I don't know.
8 o'clock over here.
That West Coast timing, man. I mean, what? You guys are closer to Saturn than anything else.
We're closer to Uranus, but that's fair. That's for my side.
I like that one. I like that one.
Side.
I like that one. Yes,
for my
yes, it is closer than my anus. Well done. Well done. Well done. So what are you guys doing what were you guys picking 17? So for those that don't know, Jose is a
16.
enormous Seattle Seahawks fan.
Gotta get it straight.
But at least your team plays in Seattle.
Right. True, very true.
That's not saying much.
Exactly.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets call themselves the New York Jets and also play in Seattle.
With the weather,
The color scheme is almost there.
with the weather, it's the same thing.
Same thing. It's very rainy.
Lots of rain.
So who are you guys targeting at 16?
Who we're hoping a tackle drops or the defensive tackle out of Texas. Luca Helvia.
Are you talking about Byron Murphy?
Yeah.
Defensive tackle out of Texas.
Yeah.
I think that's Byron Murphy.
Yeah, that's him.
Yep.
Or we're hoping Fatano falls to the Seahawks. Or at this point, we're probably gonna trade back because we don't have a second round pick at the moment. We gave that
We
up.
all don't have a second round pick.
We gave that up for Quinnen Williams.
Would you guys
Leonard Williams, actually.
Leonard Williams.
Would you guys trade up to 10? Like,
God,
let's
I
say.
hope not.
Wait, hold on. Hear me out.
Okay.
Would you guys, because we fleeced you guys before and we could do that again. Would you guys come up to 10 and give us your first next year so you guys get Fashano or Fuaga?
I would be okay with that. I really would.
You would be okay?
Yeah.
Wow.
We need to
That's a lot to give up.
We need to share up that
Wow.
offensive line. We need to share up that offensive line.
You know what? That says a lot. That says a lot. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of fans are like, no, there's no way that you're going to give up way too much draft capital, this and that. But when you have desperate teams looking at the Jets at 10, they can do something like that. Joe Douglas.
The Raiders could also trade up if they like a quarterback.
If that quarterback falls, yes, definitely. But I could definitely see Seattle jumping over all these guys, landing where the Jets are, giving them a first for next year. Now we have firepower. Now we could use that same first round pick for next year and parlay it and go back into the first round.
Or you
Hold on a second. Let me preface
this.
Or yes.
Or you could trade it for T. Higgins.
Or you could trade it for T. Higgins. That is, but the only thing is what Afim had said, it's true. It's the contract. I don't even know how you would have to restructure. So you would have to restructure Quinnen Williams' deal 100%. But my whole thing is, if you use Seattle's first rounder in this hypothetical world that we're making, you can jump right back in. How would you guys feel at 16 if we take not Fuaga? What's the Fuaga? Are you guys okay with it?
We'd be fine.
Yeah.
As long as Fatano would still on the board.
You guys would take Fashanu. We would take Fuaga at 16.
No,
no, he's also talking about the Washington tackle, Platano.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Got it.
Thank you, Luca.
But when we come back in, like, let's say we could use that same first rounder from next year, we could jump back in and take a Brian Thomas. 2 impact players. That's why I keep thinking that.
The one scenario that would make me break my TV and just completely break everything I own is if the Seahawks trade up and just a quarterback. We already have
Oh no.
2 quarterbacks.
Imagine if the Seahawks drafted Michael Penix, because they do have the Washington offensive coordinator.
Then what was the point of drafting the kid off Gilligan's Island?
That is a good point. I mean, anything is possible, but I don't see Seattle drafting a quarterback. I don't.
No, I don't either.
If they do that, that would didn't they sign Geno to like what a 4-year deal? Like
it was last year. It was a little bit less money, if I'm not mistaken, for Daniel Jones, but yeah, he was signed to like a 4-year deal.
37, I think.
But
37 sounds about right.
But the Seahawks can get out of that contract after the season and save millions for cap space.
That's true. I mean that is a possibility.
Actually, since we're speaking ahead of time,
Yes.
since Dallas isn't doing anything with that, if he becomes a free agent after this upcoming season, I wouldn't mind if the Seahawks went after.
The Seahawks?
Yeah, went after.
Yeah, I always liked Dak. I always did. I always thought he was a solid quarterback, but he's more of a system quarterback. You know what I mean? And again, you have McCarthy over there, who I don't think survives after this season if he doesn't at least get to the NFC Championship game. I don't see it. What do you think, Afim?
No, I don't.
No, I don't think so.
He had how many 12 wins this season?
12
didn't
wins.
go anywhere.
12 and they didn't win a playoff game.
Can't keep doing that and think you're going to survive.
No,
I agree.
You got to be able to take it to the next level.
It's true. It's absolutely true. I mean, getting back with the Jets here, you have now. I love that Afim is on the show right now because I'm going to preface something here.
Okay.
The defensive line that we have right now, if it all plays out the way how we think it will, I mean, based off of last year, it's not even potential anymore. Yeah. It's legitimate. And now you add someone like Reddick on there, his production. Doesn't this remind you a little bit? Just a little, not everything. Sack exchange?
Different. With the sack exchange, Gastineau was your speed. Klecko was your brute force.
Reddick is your speed. Jermaine Johnson is your brute force.
No, he's got his speed. Jermaine's fast. He knows how to use it. He's gotten his hands better. And he's good in the run too. But yeah, more or less, we just need that guy. Like we need a Marty Lyons type for the run.
I see Quinnen Williams like that.
Yeah,
I have a question.
But here's the good part about Hassan Reddick. He's a 3-down back. Now he's a proven pass rusher. Now, do they continue to double team Quinnen, or now they got to worry about Hassan?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
With this trade for Assan Reddick, do you think it says anything about the Will McDonald pick from?
No. I've heard this argument over and over. I don't. I see it as
an argument.
Oh no! I know you're not arguing. I wouldn't argue over that too. But I'm just looking at it as how the Jets use their defensive players. It's all about rotation, in and out, in and out. Agree with it or not. You have fresh legs always going in, and now you have Will McDonald, who now has a chance to learn from one of the best edge rushers in the NFL and place it within his repertoire. I'm expecting McDonald to have at minimum, at least 6 sacks, minimum. So Luca, Jose brought up a really good point. He's like, the signing of Reddick is that like an indictment on kind of like Will McDonald? Do you feel that like they're accepting blame to saying, we really shouldn't have picked them? I don't see it that way.
I mean, I've always seen it as kind of the McDonald pick is always kind of a panic pick, but I think Michael Mani of Jet X Factor put it really good. He said, this basically Hassan Reddick being traded to the Jets is basically putting less pressure on McDonald to perform in Huff's role, because that's big shoes to fill. Let's be honest, but McDonald gets another year to sit behind Reddick. We don't know if the Jets will re-sign Reddick, so. It's like another year. It's like almost like another year of learning. He still can get his reps. And I'm sure, Hassan Reddick's going to take most of Bryce Huff's reps or his spot. Let's be fair. But I think Reddick's snaps will come down a bit and McDonald's will go up a little bit as opposed from last year. So I think it can work well.
And if McDonald put on that strength, that weight with his athletic ability, okay. I mean, keep in mind, Huff. It took how many years for Huff to get to where he is?
4.
Right? Yeah, 3.
He was an undrafted free agent, and he worked hard, yes, but it took him basically the full length of his contract as an undrafted to finally get to that point. And remember, he was only on third down.
Yeah, exactly.
So he always had it. I want to see if he's a 3 down back in Philly.
Right?
Does he break down? Remember, he's still a small guy compared to other linemen.
I just want to say two more things that I'm.
No, I want you to say like 10. I want you to stay here all night, Jose. No more 2 more things. Come on, man. What you got? What you got?
So at pick 10, if a receiver fall, I would actually take a receiver over Landman, because you don't know when Mike Williams is going to be back, if at all. Knock on wood.
You're not kidding. You're not kidding.
And the last thing I want to say is, Luca, when you have time, can you come to my channel so we can do a mock draft?
Sure. Absolutely, man.
You guys have a good night. Love you all.
I love you, Jose. Yeah, happy Easter, brother. Subscribe, everybody. Again, to Jose's channel. I'm going to put his channel in the description as soon as we're done. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jose.
To this channel.
And to this.
Subscribe to this great channel. Love you, Dan.
Thank you, brother. Love you, man. Happy Easter.
Peace, brother.
The Mike Williams situation may force them to either trade or Taj Boyd, maybe.
Yeah, man.
Or hope that a wide receiver or Bowers is there at 10 as another weapon. You need something. You need more than just those.
You can't go into the season with thinking that Mike Williams is it.
Right.
I don't see. I think I said it earlier tonight. I don't see Alan Lazard being part of this team, and I'm gonna say it because somehow draft night, within those 3 days, there is going to be teams that are going to want to trade up, trade down. And I'm not even just talking about the 10th overall pick, just during the draft. You never know, maybe in the 4th round or in the 3rd round, someone wants to trade up with us. There's a player that they covet. And the Jets say, all right, you know what? Take Alan Lazard as well. But I get it. It's $10 million. We'll pay half. I think you have to penny pinch at this point. Because I think it was Woody Johnson also said something about Lazard. Woody cannot stop. Like, he has that motor mouth.
Woody needs to go on vacation.
Like
in
long.
Siberia, someplace like that.
I mean, yes, in that Borat jumpsuit.
Yeah.
That's what he needs to do.
Luca, to clarify something.
Yeah.
The guy that coached Wilson during the offseason, that quarterback.
John Beck.
Yeah. He didn't come back because he makes more money doing that as a living. That's what his living is. What I read, he helps pro quarterbacks, and he makes a lot more money doing that than what the Jets were going to pay him.
But isn't that But Afram,
I mean,
to
a
that-
lot more money than.
But to that point, Afram, 100%. What you brought up to the table right now makes so much sense why he didn't come back. But it makes even that much more the thought process on our owner that much more concrete. You would think, damn, this guy has helped Zach Wilson in his rookie year, that second half, that much. Whatever it is to retain your services here, this is our investment here. We'll double what you're making outside of here.
From what I read, he makes like $2 million a year doing this.
$4 million. Here's $4 million.
Paying $4 million. What are you paying Salah?
Exactly. That's a good question. That's a better question to ask. Are you going to pay him as much as your head coach? And we know Woody doesn't exactly pay coaches the highest salary.
Exactly. If Woody was going to pay, he would have gotten a quarter. It would allow Joe Douglas to go after backup quarterback instead of saying, "I'm paying $11 million for Zach. He's your backup quarterback."
Well, I would have gave Salah some incentives. You get to 10 wins, you make more than Beck.
Woody just needs to sit in the background and let the people that know football
just sign the checks. Just sign the checks.
That's all. Okay.
This is a tough one here. I'd rather Chris Johnson with no meddling than Woody meddling.
Neither.
Neither.
I don't want Chris.
I want a provision on that one. Don't pick up the phone and talk to anybody.
No,
exactly.
Chris Johnson. Do not talk to anybody. Don't ask anybody their opinion. Just let those guys let Joe Douglas and his team do the business. Get Woody out there, do whatever. Just don't listen to Peyton Manning or anybody else.
Right. Because he's going to rehire Gase.
Or Charlie Casserly or,
Because, Gase is coaching where football is going. He's very soft-spoken.
What's he going to call next? He's going to call, what's his name, Kraft for some advice on what the Jets should do next?
I can't. No.
He'll call. His luck, he'll try to call Belichick. What do you think of this assistant? Belichick will hang up the phone.
Click. He'll call Joe Beningo.
I don't think Belichick would hang up the phone.
I think he would.
He would give them the absolute worst advice because he would know that Christopher Johnson would take it.
Exactly.
That's 100%. True. That's a good point.
He'll be like, look, I think, honestly, if you really want to succeed,
I'd
call the Mets and try to get Buck Showalter as your next head coach because he knows football. And he
might not be a bad idea, though.
Oh, my God. Did the Yankees win or no?
The Yankees did win tonight. They won 5-3.
5-3.
Wow. What about the Mets? I'm a Mets fan, unfortunately.
Yes, I saw that one.
Severino was awful.
He
was so ineffective. Like he used fastballs and 0-2 counts. Reese Hoskins hit one out of the park. Who was the other guy hitting out of the park?
Jason Giambi. That's my offense. Better than what we have now. I mean, way better than what we have. I mean, again, Aaron Rodgers coming back. We're hoping that he solves everything. I'm hoping, but I don't know. The optimism is there again, and as a Jet fan around this time, we know we always win the off season.
Of course.
And I'm fooled again, right? But I have some, I don't know,
Are you cautiously optimistic? Is that the right term?
No, I'm not cautious. This is my problem. I'm not cautious. I'm all in. Like I'm already envisioning us in the AFC Championship game against the Kansas City Chiefs at MetLife. That's what I'm envisioning because we're all in. We're all in. And I think Afim said it on the last show that we had about 2 weeks ago. He said, I had asked, how far can the Jets make it, if we're all healthy? And he nailed it. I think first step is AFC East champs. You have to. That's a check mark. I don't see the Bills. I'm going to bring something up if you guys can take the lead on this.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm gonna give you guys my biggest worry. I think, you could say, sky's limited for this team, AFC Championship, whatever. I think it comes down to coaching. Like, I've said this how many times, Aaron Rodgers cannot do everything, but in my opinion, health is obviously a big factor. I think coaching is right next to it. If the coaching actually somewhat improves this year, we can reach what we really want to reach. But it comes down to coaching, man. Because Salah's not going to be like when he goes into the playoffs, he's going to be going against some really damn good coaches. That's the problem. He's going to get outclassed. That's my fear.
I think his mentality has changed based on what's going on, and he can't be that CEO like where he's got to pay attention to the offense now.
Yeah, of course, I agree.
Yeah, and so now I think he has to get involved more in that, and let's give him he deserves to have at least 1 year with a competent quarterback. Okay, and see what happens there, because Wilson just wasn't competent or consistent enough.
Yeah,
it's just that. And everyone's complaining, worried about these guys getting hurt. They're all like Smith and Moses. But let me tell you something. Considering what we had the past 2 years, if I can get any of these guys to play 13 games for the season, I'll take that.
I would definitely buy that.
Yeah, compared to what they've been playing up to that point, and getting in the ball quick will help these guys stay healthy.
Absolutely.
I see that as well. I see that if Rodgers is healthy, we go into the playoffs. I understand your argument, Luca. You have a very legitimate argument. We go up against an Andy Reid. How do we stack up? And I think that's where the Aaron Rodgers factor comes in as well. Says, listen, this is what we're going to do. It's having a coach, an old school quarterback on the field as a leader, as a general, easing the pressure off of Saleh as well. Saleh wants this. If you think about it, Saleh has been in those situations as as a defensive coordinator or whatnot with the Niners. He's been there. He sees it. Yes, he hasn't made executive decisions during the game, but he has made decisions for his defense in order to get to that part, that point. Yeah. So I see, if we're neck and neck, AFC Championship game, AFC Divisional, or even the last game of the season to win the East, and he has what he needs, I think he's going to change a lot of people's minds, including yours truly, because I am not a big Saleh fan. I'm not. But with that being said, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. You know why? I'm going to tell you this, and I'll let you guys elaborate a little bit more. I think when people in general are back to a corner, they're going to change their ways and they're going to showcase their true colors because they have to amend something in order to kind of produce for their job's sake. I think he's not going to be that much of a player coach. He's going to be more of a demanding coach. Honestly, that's what I see.
If you're saying that because his ass on the line, I would hope so.
I think so, man. I honestly think so because look at the AFC East, what we have here on the screen here. So any of these three teams scare you? As a Jet fan right now, how loaded we are, and we're not done yet. Again, it's not even April 1st, and this team is loaded. We have the Buffalo Bills, who I will give tremendous respect. They won the East. They continue to win. Josh Allen, Diggs, they just signed Curtis Samuel. They lost some key pieces, too. Let's not forget
especially that. On defense.
Especially on
Jordan
defense.
Poyer.
Huge.
Trey White.
Milano's out, right?
Well, Milano had an injury this past season, but he's going to come back.
I thought he did that.
Now, Poyer hasn't signed with anyone yet, right?
Poyer's in Miami, actually. Really cheap deal.
Gotcha. So now we go to Miami right now. You see Miami, and yes, they are high-powered, but again, they beat us. They swept us with no quarterback. Nothing. I mean, honestly, that last game after Thanksgiving, it was playing with one man less at the most crucial position with Tim Boyles.
They also lost key
Oh.
offensive lineman, too.
Another one.
Connor Williams is gone. They signed Aaron Brewer, who's, I guess, okay. Robert Hunt is gone. Right guard. He was like their Elijah Vera Tucker. He went to Carolina to get paid $20 million a year.
Yeah, exactly.
And right now, their pieces are Teron Armstead, Isaiah Wynn, Aaron Brewer, questions at the right guard position in Austin Jackson, who's not been consistent. So defensively, I'm looking at their roster. They haven't made a ton of upgrades. I mean, Jordan Poyer and Kendra Fuller help. Bradley Chubb, I don't think is good as people is as good as people say. They have Jalen Ramsey, but I think their defense
Howard
might
still
be
there.
No, he got cut.
He got cut. Yeah, and again,
Wow.
Dakota brings up a good
Amazing,
point.
huh?
I mean, before we even get to Dakota's point, again, we got 84 watchers. Thank you so much again for joining us. Again, the Insomniac edition. If you can, kindly just hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out so much. Now, here on paper, again, it's played. Football is played on the field, but on paper, we're pretty kick-ass, and we're still not done yet.
No, I think so.
Got 30 days left. Less than 30 days before the draft.
Do you think this is the year finally we sweep the Patriots?
Yes.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be.
We have to, man. But
different coach, different no quarterback, new quarterback. They lost what? They lost defensive lineman, right?
Yes.
Trent Brown signed someplace. Did they re-sign
Onwenu? Yes, he got a big contract.
Yeah. But still,
their team doesn't really impress me. Let's be fair.
they have no weapons. Hunter Henry. We shut them down. We just couldn't score.
Exactly. He wasn't to be fair, he wasn't as good as he was in with the Chargers. Juju Smith, I think, is very he's not overrated. He's just very mid. He doesn't deserve to be your number one receiver. Kendrick Bourne's realistically a number 3 or a number 4. New England doesn't scare me.
I could see New England being one of the absolute worst teams in the NFL.
It's possible.
I see them pre-Drew Bledsoe days. And again, Afim could attest to this. Dude, Luca, I don't know how old you were, what I'm about to throw out there right now. The Patriots had a quarterback named Hugh Millen, one of the worst quarterbacks out there. They would go 1-15, 3-13. They sucked until they
Are you talking about when they went 1-15 in 1990 with Rod Rust?
That's one, too. They sucked. That's how I see the Patriots becoming one of the absolute worst teams in the NFL.
They got Bledsoe.
That they got Bledsoe after the 92 season when they put in Scott Zolak, who, again, played against Browning Nagel. And I'm like, wow, Scott Zolak is a beast. That showed you how much I knew about quarterbacks back then. I see them that bad. The Jets better not split with them. They better not. They can't.
Win a division, you can't split.
You can't, because you know for a fact Gerard Mayo is going to just bulldoze that into their brains. It's the Jets, guys. Just play to your wits. They're going to mess up no matter what. The Jets have to come out 4-0, man, right off the gate. Right off. I don't know what the schedule is. I know they didn't come out yet, but come out right throughout 4-0, 5-0. Showcase it. This is it. Last year, complete anomaly. This is what an all-in year means. Keep them upright. That's why at 10, man, as much as I want a playmaker, we might have to – I wouldn't be opposed to trading up, man. If you can get Joe Alt, if Joe Alt slips, I wouldn't mind going up. Get Joe Alt. God forbid Tyron Smith goes down or Moses goes down. You got one of the best prospects out there, the number one left tackle out there, coming out of Notre Dame, man. That's my school, man. I love Notre Dame. Come on, man.
Notre Dame's my college team. But I just want to share something real quick. I hate to interrupt the Insomniac session, but unfortunately, I've been blessed with working at 7:30 in the morning tomorrow. So, yeah. But I just want to say real quick, thank you to Dan for giving me the chance to pop on. Shout out to everybody in the chat. What's up to Italy Jet? He works with my boy. I don't know if he still works with my boy Jiggo over at Brew Crew. So Jiggo's so cool. Jiggo is awesome. But you guys are awesome. Subscribe to Dan's channel. Hit the like button. But Dan, I appreciate you allowing me to come on. Afim, you're great as always as a guest. But happy Easter to all. I just wanted to put that note in. So I'll see you guys later.
Be well.
Ah, man. You too, man. Thank you so much for popping on, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Later.
So it's you and I, man. And let me throw this on here. See whoever wants to pop up. Again, it is a late night edition here. And Italy, if you want to come on. All right. Yeah, baby. He wants to come on. All right, let's do it. I'm going to take this off here, and we could keep on talking because, Afim, you've been through the ringer with the Jets. I mean, a lot of us, a lot of the new gen Jets fans have seen the good and the bad, right? Like, I would have loved starting off my Jet tenure as a fan in the late 80s. And because I tagged on like in the 90s, but I remember watching games with my family in the mid 80s, like the shootout. Just in diapers, just watching. And then 89, 90 with Coslet and trying to replicate what Boomer Esiason had with. It wasn't the run and shoot. It was the no huddle offense before Buffalo had it. What was it? What was it again?
Wasn't he with Coslet at first?
He was with Coslet, but it was the Bengals that did the no huddle. It was the K-gun. It was them first. They had it. And then Buffalo took over it and kind of like fine-tuned it. But with that said, as with a Jet fan, it was like the 1990, 6-10, 91. It was my first glimpse. I think that was my kind of new gen Jets. I saw the Jets riding high, just winning that first game against Tampa Bay in 1991 here at home. Scott Mercereau throwing freaking Testaverde down before Testaverde was our quarterback. And then at the last game of the season, it was the usual shootout with Marino and O'Brien. We won that game. We went into the playoffs. Me as a fan at, I think I was like 10 or 9, I'm like, this is going to be great. I guess, Afim, this is how it's going to be as a Jet fan. We're going to go into the playoffs every year. And then reality hit. What about you, man? When you started, how was it? How were the Jets? And it introduced you to, let's do it.
I started watching in 78, on and off. Wasn't it? Because I like the Wesley Walker was just, on the team. But I started watching more when Richard Todd took over. And then I remember 82 with the Mud Bowl.
Yep.
That killed me because I had to go to work, and then I'm waiting for the updates. There's no internet back then, so I was waiting from anyone here with the radio. All I heard was 7-0, and that was it. I said, this is. And then 5 interceptions for a guy that never did anything more than that game in A.J. Dewey. But they had solid defense, and then slowly but surely. I mean, I remember when they started. They lost their first game, then won the next 10 in a row.
Oh, my God.
And then Lyons got hurt, and then Klecko got hurt, and they couldn't stop the run, and then they lost the last 5, and they just made the playoffs. I mean, we had some good teams. We always had a solid linebacker core. We always get the linebackers from Penn State or something like that.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Greg
Penn State, at that time, Penn State would always come out with the best linebackers. And then Browning Nagel.
That's my guy, man. That's my guy.
Yeah, we had a slew of guys. It's just.
I'm trying to get him on, man. I'm trying to get Browning Nagel on. I tried reaching out to him. I believe he's still out in Louisville. I want to ask him. I want to ask him questions. I want to honestly ask him a question that a lot of people fear to ask him, and it's this.
Didn't you have him once before on the?
No. We had Kellen Clemens. We had Glenn Foley.
Right.
We had a bunch of players on, and we would ask them, some tough questions, but we always had some fun times. But
you also had Ken O'Brien when you went to the show.
Oh my God, man!
What a nice guy.
Yeah, no, thank goodness. Armand, he had him sign this poster, this little poster here.
No, he was a nice guy. There were fun times with him. It was very exciting. We had some good players. We had some good offense. We had Al Toon, Wesley Walker. Then what's his name? We got in the supplemental draft.
Oh, Rob Moore.
Rob Moore, who didn't last. He ended up leaving us. He was a great wide receiver.
We got Italy Jet, man. Italy Jet is doing the whole Sopranos theme, man. Hey, bello.
Yeah.
No, but it's fun because now we come full circle 25, 30 years later, and there have been some boneheaded plays, this and that, but us Jet fans, we breed this. We love this team no matter what, how horrible it's been, but we know how sweet it's going to be because it's bound to be our turn. Afim, like you see,
Yeah,
all
no,
these other
I
teams.
agree.
Tampa Bay. You remember Tampa Bay?
Yeah.
How horrible the Cincinnati Bungles. And then us, it's our time to be in that Super Bowl, to enjoy those 2 weeks, saying, yeah, we're going to be representing the AFC conference and then winning that Super Bowl. I think that is going to be so amazing. And I feel it. I feel that it's going to happen next February.
I just hope we have like a 98. 98 was the killer. 98 was the killer because I knew if we had beaten Denver, Atlanta had no shot against us.
None
whatsoever.
None, especially the job that they did to Minnesota. How, what's his name? The Anderson. How Anderson missed that field goal. When I saw that and in Atlanta won, I'm like, all we got to do is beat Elway at Mile High. I wish.
And we were up 10-0.
We were up 10-0. If that game was here at Giant Stadium, I think it would have been much different. The crowd would have been relentless.
One mistake and it turned the momentum around.
It was Byers, right? It was Byers' fumble and then Alex Van Dyke's fumble.
Yeah.
That was our year, Ricky. And the following year was our year. That year, that 99 one, when we had Tyson on from Let's Talk Jets, we reminisced and we waited. We said, what was worse, Testaverde's Achilles or Rodgers? And to me, it's hands down, it was Vinny. Vinny was the one where we knew in 99, no one was taking that Super Bowl away with us.
We had such a great coaching staff all around.
And we acquired Steve Atwater.
Yeah. And we just put Rick Meyer in for a long time instead of putting Ray Lucas. Lucas developed throughout the year, and had we made the playoffs, we'd have been no one would want to play us because our defense was getting stronger and stronger.
Yeah, that's right.
It wasn't meant to be.
It wasn't. But you know what? I honestly think this year, man, has a lot of there's certain intangibles that you kind of feel it. You kind of feel that it may turn out to be something special. Again, we won 7 games with what we had.
We had nothing. No quarterback last year.
We had no quarterback, no offensive coordinator, no
offensive line, and we still won 7 games.
Garrett Wilson still balled out, still over 1,000 yards. Breece Hall, they kept feeding him. At the end of season's end against the Pats, we kept feeding him the ball over and over and over, and he kept producing. We won 7 games easily. We could have won 2 more,
3 more. We could have been 10-7.
I'm looking at the 2 that I'm looking at is the Chiefs and the Raiders. Which other one are you looking at?
We should beat the Patriots the first time.
Oh, that's right. Again, with no quarterback, none whatsoever.
And if the refs would have called that blatant hold on Jermaine, and that 5-minute flag that came out after the we had the Chiefs beat.
We had them beat.
Okay.
Again,
well, we'd have gotten the ball back, but
that would have been out of this world, man. And again, Breece had no help, man, none whatsoever. And I think honestly, and Atlanta, you're right, Ricky. You're nailing it tonight, man. Ricky, you want to call in? You could definitely call in. I'll throw the link out there. You bring it up.
We forget the bad moments.
Hey, we're so numb. We're so numb. Like our adhesion to the Band-Aids, there's no more adhesion. We just plop it right back on with Scotch tape. We don't feel it anymore.
We should have beaten the Chargers in the position they were in.
Yeah, but isn't that typical Jets though that we elevate our game depending on who we're facing? Like if we would have had that same mindset that we had against the Chiefs, playing against the Chargers, playing against Atlanta, we should have won. We should have.
The problem
And
is,
yeah, Dakota brings up a great point.
as the year goes by, the defense gets tired because they're on the field the majority of the time on each game. That's the problem.
Yeah, at this point, man, you know,
eventually it catches up, especially after 17 games.
That's why I'm looking at the defense that we have right now, how solid they are, power moves that we got, especially with Reddick, man. Reddick, that dude is a disruptor, and he turns the ball over. He doesn't just sack the quarterback; he'll strip. He'll completely stick his hand out there.
He changes the whole
dynamic completely, 100%. And that's the beauty of it. Now you have your offense. If they're healthy, they give the defense a complete, well-deserved break. Imagine this top 10, top 5, and right now I'm looking at a top 3 defense getting rest. Rest. For the past 2 seasons, they have not received break time. Like, take a rest here. They had it in some games, not full. Imagine what more that the Jets defense can offer. And again, it's a different kind of defensive scheme that Saleh brings. There's not a lot of blitzing. It's more pin your ears back and go. Dude, we have 2 of the best cornerbacks that's out there. A legitimate defensive line better than most can ever have. Our linebackers, I mean, bringing back CJ Mosley, what Mosley did to restructure his contract, what a leader. What a big-time leader.
Another year now. Quincy will be better this year than he was.
Huge, enormous.
Chuck Clark and Tony Adams on his safety.
Which I think they're not done at safety. I honestly think that they're probably going to go out and make a play. I don't know if they're going to land them for Justin Simmons because I think right now we're way over the cap because they still can't execute the trade with Reddick until they can shuffle some pieces around with the cap space right now. So
yeah, but he wouldn't make that move unless he knew he could.
Oh yeah, he will.
Yeah, it's just paper, paperwork.
But it depends on how much we have left over because if we just have enough for the draft, then we can't really go after like a Justin Simmons or a Quandre Diggs. I know I'm missing another guy. Let me see my notes, but
Austin Davis, they would have to,
Ashton Davis is another one. Isn't that crazy? He's finally coming along, and we're like, we'll see if we have any chump change. But just the fact that no one else is signing him gives a good feeling that this might happen. He might come back. I mean, yes, you're right. Walrave brings up a great point. We do need $9 million for our rookies. I kind of see that probably Aaron Rodgers. He might restructure, right? He might restructure again. Let me see here.
All I say is that if he's making these deals, incentive 1-year deals, he knows he's got the money situated. I'm not worried about the money. Whatever move he makes, I'm sure he knows that he can restructure enough to pay all these guys. So,
right.
I like to just see if they go for another wide receiver.
I think they're going to wait after the draft. And just my humble opinion, I think they will wait after the draft because right now a lot of teams are – that high of free agency has dipped, especially with trades and whatnot. I think the trades are going to start peaking again maybe a week before the draft. I'm telling you, man, it's going to be a fun-filled April, in my opinion. I think there's going to be a lot of unexpected moves around the league, especially, honestly, with New England and Arizona that high up there. I think there's going to be some crazy moves going on there that a lot of teams are going to be trying to move up. And the Jets are very quiet with when it comes down to the draft. Like they're not really tipping their hand because they position themselves in such a great spot where they can go in 5 to 6 different tangent ways that you have no idea where they're going. No idea. And that's why it's exciting. To me, it's super exciting.
Yeah. I guess
you know, Afim, listen, man, we just hit midnight. I want to give a huge shout out to you. Thank you so much for coming on, being the cleanup hitter over here. You cleaned up for Luca, and I want to give a shout out to Luca too, man. Thank you, Luca, for coming on, and all you guys, man. 84, 85, 90 lookers right here, just looking out and watching us. Thank you so much. Please hit that subscribe button. It means so much. We're gonna try to do a lot more of these, going into the midnight hour, and we'll see how it goes, and hopefully you guys will enjoy.
Hopefully we get some good news to go on to midnight.
Yeah, that's right. I completely agree.
Another wild, 2026 pick trade, 2027 pick.
Never know. Anyway, man, happy Easter to
You,
everyone.
Same.
All right, have a great night, everyone. Thanks again,
Take
everybody.
care. Be well.
Good night.